with another solo traveler that I've met at the hostel here in Nairobi. Can you start off by telling us your name and also where you're from?
My name is Harsh. I'm from India. I've been traveling solo for almost 2 years now. Full-time traveler, do a little bit of content creation as well. Yeah, that's about it. And now we're in Kenya, trying to explore what this country has to offer.
Absolutely, and I know we just met yesterday when I came in here at the hostel that we're at. Just like we've been asking a lot of solo travelers, like, why do you like staying at hostels, and
Right.
what are some of the best parts of staying at a hostel?
Right. So, see, first of all, I think hostels present you with excellent socialization opportunities. If you're in a hotel, you're just going to be confined to your own room, and then you have to go places. Over here, you can meet other fellow travelers, and obviously, they have great stories too. You can make plans together. So that's my personal reason for staying in hostels, and it's been fantastic so far. Like I've met you, and others. Yeah, it's been great.
I love it. I love it. And then even because I know you've traveled to quite a few places, like what are some things that you would tell even ladies or even males like us guys to look out for like safety measures when it comes to hostels? We know people sometimes are afraid of staying at hostels, especially in the U.S.
Right.
Like what are some safety tips or things that you would recommend people look out for?
Right. So, out of all of my travel experience, what I've seen is that in the beginning, everybody has their guards up. But a few days in, everybody gets casual. And I've noticed that that's when stuff goes down. Like, there was this instance where I'm in Vietnam and there's this guy living in a hostel for like 3 weeks. And then everything went perfect. Like, nobody would touch his stuff. But then one fine morning, he wakes up and $2,000 are missing. And that too from his locker. So yeah, I would personally say keep your guard up at all times. Even though you've been in a country for once or 2 times or 3 times, or if it's a place which is very familiar to you, because it can, bad things can happen at any time. You never know. So yeah, that would be my personal tip.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And when it comes to meeting people, I know like us, we all were talking yesterday. Where are some of the countries or people that you've met? What countries are they from? And have you stayed in contact with any of the folks you've met at hostels over the years?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually made a few good friends. Like there's this Swiss guy we first met in Bali, and then we met in Thailand, and he was about to join me for a Central Asian trip that I did last year. But then something happened, he had to call it off. But yeah, you meet very interesting people, and some of them end up being your good buddies. And I've personally been meeting people all around the world, to be honest, because you go to different regions around the world, and then you find different kind of people. Like when I was in Central Asia, you had a lot of people from, for example, Mongolia. I haven't met Mongolian travelers from other parts of the world, and Central Asia also had a lot of American travelers, to be really honest, but mostly like solo male travelers. I didn't meet a single female solo traveler because I guess it's a part of a world which is not very explored even now. So yeah, but like if you go to something like Southeast Asia, you have people from all around the world. You meet Europeans almost everywhere, the Dutch and the German and the French. That's like, that triangle is just pretty much everywhere you go. So yeah.
I love that, man. And where are some of the coolest places or best places you've traveled to thus far? And like, what would you say your top two are out of the places you've gone to?
Top two. All right, look, so I've done Oceania, Australia, and New Zealand. I've done pretty much all of Southeast Asia except Philippines, and I've done Central Asia. I've done some of South Asia too. My top would be probably, that's a tough question, man. I'm pretty sure everybody who gets on your podcast says that because every region has interesting things to offer. I would say Indonesia. Indonesia has endless islands, first of all, and they're very different from each other too. Like, if you have time, I'll share this story from one of these Indonesian islands. So there's this island called Sulawesi, and in the middle of Sulawesi, although Indonesia is predominantly an Islamic country, in the middle of Sulawesi there is an area called Tanah Toraja, and those villages are primarily Christian. So first of all, they have one of the biggest crosses around the world. Like, I think the third biggest crosses. And secondly, it's extremely interesting because they have their own local traditions too. So when a family member dies, they make like a wooden house, or they make holes in holy rocks that they have around their area, and they put the dead body in a casket, believing that the family member hasn't died yet and is only sick for now. So for the family member to be dead in their customs, the person there has to be a proper funeral, and the funeral is a big affair for them. Like, for example, 300 to 400 people would attend. Moreover, there are sacrifices. Like if it's a rich family, they will sacrifice, like, let's say 5 buffaloes. And buffaloes are an expensive affair too. So now for some families, it takes time for them to accumulate money for this funeral. So what they would do is they would put the dead body in a casket and put it in these holy rocks and shut it down, all right? So let's say a specific funeral takes more than 3 years. They will take out the casket after 3 years, take out the skeleton, the dead body, and redress it, and then put it back in, and that will happen every 3 years until a funeral is done. And for some families, it takes like 3 decades. So I found that extremely fascinating and interesting, and yeah, that was great. And my second favorite would be probably Tajikistan, man. Tajikistan was amazing. It's one of the least explored. There is this stretch called the Pamir Highway. Amazing place. It's very uninhabitable, but at the same time, the Pamiri people, their culture is so colorful, and it's amazing. I really loved it there. And it was, although very tough for me, but because I'm a pure vegetarian, I don't even eat eggs. So I was just eating biscuits and stuff like that. But it was great. I really love that country. I probably see myself going back there, sometime in future. So yeah, that would be my top 2 so far.
Man, I love that. And I didn't even get to hear you yesterday say that you're vegetarian. I'm vegan. I'm plant-based. So even for those like us who are vegetarian or plant-based, what are some tips that you would tell someone so that they don't eat dishes that have meat in it, or that they are able to still stay as close to a vegetarian or a plant-based diet as they can when they travel? What are some tips that you would give them?
Right. So first of all, I would suggest you guys, and I have no affiliation whatsoever, there's this app called Happy Cow. So Happy Cow has a list of all the vegan or vegetarian restaurants in a specific country that you're in. Like, for example, when I was in Vietnam, which is also a very meat-heavy country, like even if you are eating something vegetarian, they would cook it in, like, let's say fish sauce or oyster sauce. And then you're like, oh, that kills the purpose for a vegetarian or a vegan person like you. So I would go to Happy Cow, and it gave me, like, I was in Hanoi, it gave me this restaurant called Vegan Banh Mi. And they had fantastic banh mi's, like very tasty. So first of all, that's my first go. I check on Happy Cow, but some countries it's not available, and that's where you have to come up with what works for you. Like I'm from Indian background, so we do a lot of spices and masalas. So I keep some masala with me at all times. So let's say I'm in a place where there's absolutely no vegetarian food, I'll just buy some, raw vegetables or fruits and put my masala on it, and just make a little salad and eat it, So that works for me. So I guess, this might not work for everybody because we have our own taste buds, and, my masala might not be your masala. So yeah, that would be my top tips. That's what I do. And sometimes I keep stock. Like there's this vegetarian Korean noodles that I always keep like a few packets in my backpack. If I can't find something, I'll just quickly cook them, So that's been my strategy.
No, those are all good travel hacks right there, man. And then as we get ready to wind down, we always ask any of our podcast guests about currency and finances. And so when you travel, do you believe in exchanging for the local currency? Like, what is your tips or hacks on getting the best conversion rates? Do you use credit card only? Like, talk to us about your currency exchange experience when you travel.
Right. So look, first of all, it's different for every country. Like for example, Ethiopia. Ethiopia also has a black market, right? So if you were to go to a normal currency exchange, you might get like a 50 for $1, like hypothetically saying. But in a black market, you could get like up to 110. So you need to do your research about how currency works in every country. For me personally, we have some travel cards, for example, like Forex cards. They give you They give you like absolutely, like you don't really pay much fees, and also you get lounge access and stuff. So I use a card, being an Indian, called Neo. I just withdraw from that. It's almost no ATM fees most of the time. So that's how I make things work. And but I also always keep some currency with me in case I come across a country where there are not too many ATMs available and stuff like that. I never buy SIMs or exchange my currency at the airports, because that's what a lot of travelers do. That's one of the first thing. You're like, oh, I need some money. How am I going to book a taxi or whatever? So you can do a little research and be like, for example, when I was coming to Kenya, I'm like, okay, Uber works here, and Uber is already connected to my credit card. So I didn't need no currency to get to my hostel. So I didn't convert any currency at the airport, which usually most of the times is lower than what you can get in the city. So I usually wait, get a few tips from local people, and I convert my currency. Yeah.
Man, those are all great travel hacks and tips. And so finally, like, where can people, if they want to reach out to you? I know you have a YouTube channel. Like,
Yes, I do.
How are some of the ways people can follow up with you after today?
Right. So if any of you watching understand Hindi, I make travel vlogs in Hindi, and my travel channel is called Follow My Orbit. You can just go to followmyorbit.com and it'll take you straight to my YouTube channel. In case you want to connect to me on Instagram, it's Follow My Orbit as well. Feel free to DM me, no matter which part of the world you're from, to get any tips at no cost. I love helping people because I reached here because people helped me. That's what I believe in. Yeah.
Thank you so much, man, for taking time with us today.
Best of luck. Thank you for your time.